Hello and welcome to another episode of Cake Fight Presents The Making Of. I'm writer, director, producer Paige Feldman, and this week, as every week, I'm taking you inside my process of making my debut feature film. We're going from idea to premiere in real time. Y'all, I hope you missed that intro as much as I have, because I really have, because for the past, 2 months, I haven't been doing much talking about the script for my contained romantic comedy, or even about the film that I'm going to make from the script for this contained romantic comedy feature. And that's because for the past 2 months, I've been slogging slowly through the first rewrite. And I'm so excited to report to you that I've finished the on-paper revisions. As of recording, I have not typed in the changes, so I can't tell you how many pages, even though this wasn't a revision where I was going to be cutting a bunch of pages, but I did cut some pages as I was revising. How many pages of the 155 in my first draft I've cut down to, I don't even know. I haven't input anything, but the on-paper revisions are finished. And because I'm a bit of a data nerd, I want to share with you the list of sections of my script that I've broken it down into for the purposes of this revision. You can see in the left-hand column there is all about things that are happening in that section, and then that next column to the right of it is my projected, fingers crossed, that's the date it's going to be done, and then where the pen is in the right is the date that these sections were actually done. There's stuff that happened in my life, so the gap from October 22nd through November 19th, that's when I moved. That was the packing, that was the unpacking, the moving itself, the recovery, and then from the 19th to the 28th, that gap is because Thanksgiving, and I got food poisoning in there also, so there's a 9-day gap. And then as you can see, I just kind of treated it like an end of the semester is coming up and I haven't finished or even started my paper yet, and I just finished. So if you can relate to all of the start and stopness and the frustration of not being able to finish what you're starting, and probably a lot of the feelings that have come with it, like the anxiety and the shame and the embarrassment and the anxiety again, stay tuned after the titles because I'm going to share with you how I pulled myself up out of the mire. Hopefully this will help you feel less alone. And if you're where I was like a week ago, hopefully it can help get you back on track with your creative projects so you can finish something before the end of the year, because right now it's December. We're all in that end of the year sprint. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. I'm not going to bury the lead at all. The thing that I did to help myself finish this revision and get out of that mire was to just sit down and do the work. That is not a special solution. It's not sexy. It's not fun. It's not a tip. It's not a trick. It's just the reality is that when you want to create something, when you want to do something, when you want to achieve a goal, you just have to sit down and do the work, which is boring, kind of. And for me, at least, this sitting down and do the work part was complicated by all of the feelings that I was feeling about not having done it already. All of the shame and the embarrassment and some of the anxiety that stemmed from that. Because I have this vision of myself, this is going to be cheesy, but I have this vision of myself as somebody who is just a workhorse, who is doing more work than everyone else, who's working harder, is working smarter, who is following through and pushing through all of the discomfort to achieve my dreams at whatever cost it requires, giving things up in order to do it. I want to be the person that works harder, and that's how I'm going to succeed. I have this vision of myself as that person who people say, wow, I can't believe how she does all these things. And looking at this list of the dates where I finished each part of my revision, at least right now, I needed to accept that at this point in my life, and not like at this point in my life, but at this time in my life when I was getting married and moving and going on a honeymoon and all of these exciting things, that workhorse vision of myself wasn't true. And in this time when I was revising, I was getting increasingly frustrated with my lack of movement in the industry because Interrobang, my short form comedy anthology, was releasing on streaming on Sika TV, and that was so exciting, but nobody cared. And Wingdad, the film that I wrote based on the director's story with the director, got released on Prime, and again, nobody cared. And I had a meeting with a consultant who said, you're doing the right things, but no one's seeing them. So you have to keep doing more, and you also have to figure out how to make people see your stuff. And so I'm getting frustrated thinking, I'm working so hard, I'm doing so much, and nothing's happening for me. And then I look at this revision timeline that I've set out, and I'm not doing all of that work. My social media posts for Interrobang were not as great as they could have been, maybe, and that's partially because Twitter is kind of crashing and burning, and partially because I don't really engage on Facebook and Instagram as much as I should. I got press for Interrobang, which is great, but I don't know how that's converting. And then with this revision, I just kind of set it off to the side to do other things like unpack, which I needed to do, but I wasn't fully diving in to what I needed to do to keep myself on track, to keep this vision of myself as a workhorse alive. And so instead of, doing what I should have done, which is what I eventually did, and just make some changes, I just felt like the world was against me, and I felt increasingly frustrated. And I think the real moment came on my birthday, which was the day after Thanksgiving, where I sat down and realized it's the end of the year, and my initial plan at the beginning of this year was to have a proof of concept ready to go in production for my feature. And I don't even have a first revision done. And what's going on, and why aren't I working hard? And I journal on my birthday, and I set goals for myself, and I evaluate what I've done the past year. And my evaluation was a lot of fantastic things have happened in my life, but my career, as much as it's pushed forward in this past year, as much good has happened, I haven't taken advantage of that. I haven't been working as hard as I could be or should be. And so I had two choices there. I could either, number one, accept that my vision of myself as the hardest worker was no longer true and be content with a slower pace of growth. Or number two, I could make a change and get back to the workhorse person that I know that I can be. Door number one kind of means relegating my career to a hobby. If I'm not pushing myself, it's not going to happen. I know I'm a very tunnel vision person. I do this a lot when I'm writing because I was always pushed forward. And if I want to make a change, if I want to succeed in this industry, especially because it's so competitive, I need to be doing the maximum. So I can either accept that, maybe my priorities have changed, and that would be okay. Or I need to make a change. And y'all, I quit film once. I went to law school straight out of undergrad after some terrible internships where I literally got yelled at for reading scripts. And just thought, I don't know if I can do this. So I went to law school. And I figured I can be a lawyer, I can make money, I can have a career for myself. And, I can write in my spare time and be fun. Except I was in lectures and I was outlining stories in the margins of my PowerPoints. I was going to parties and listening to my friends debate case law and just wishing that someone would talk to me about There Will Be Blood or No Country for Old Men or any of the other great films that I had just seen. I tried to quit. I tried to have a more conventional, easy life where I could have that relaxed kind of pace of growth for myself, but it wouldn't make me happy. And I'm not going to live a life where I'm more comfortable because I refuse to take risks and achieve the things that I know I can, and that would make me ecstatically happy. So I already quit once. And then I decided I was going to be a filmmaker, so I moved out to LA for my last semester of film school. I got a great internship on the Disney lot, and I started my career as an exec and also a writer. And knowing that I quit once and knowing that that didn't work for me is actually kind of awesome, because every time I get discouraged, because I do a lot, and I got frustrated with myself for not finishing this revision, I think, well, I can quit, but that didn't work for me. So I have one option, and that's to keep pushing forward and to keep moving ahead and to keep doing the work. And so that's what I decided to do. The first thing I did when I realized / reminded myself that I am not quitting. I am not slowing down. This is still what I want. This is still what I love. This is still what I need to do, is I forgave myself. And that, I think, is the most important thing. That, I think, is the biggest trick or tip I can give you in this video. Be kind to yourself, because sometimes things happen. My life, I have a series of life events over the course of a year that's made me slower than I have been. But it's okay, because I recognize it, and I am out of the woods of all of these major life events right now, and I can focus more on my writing, on my filmmaking, on my audio storytelling in a way that I haven't been able to do for over a year. So I forgave myself with not being fully on task, fully committed. And then I treated the next 4 days, because that's how long it took, like the end of the semester when I hadn't even started a paper yet. Y'all, I literally once realized 2 days before a paper was due on comparative modern art and / with like a biography element. I don't even quite remember what the assignment was. You had to consume a biography of an artist and then write about how their life and their work intersected. I realized 2 days before, like not even days, nights before, that I hadn't done this. And so I was able to rent Frida, the movie with Salma Hayek, and just I watched that from 10 p.m. until after 1 a.m. because I was taking notes, and then I wrote the paper over the course of the next day and also went to class. It was nuts, but I treated my script like that. And this is not something I'm going to try to do all the time, but it proved to me that I still do have the stamina to just keep pushing forward, keep moving ahead with my work. And just like I said when I was talking about doing the 24-hour radio race, that showed me that, yeah, I still do have the focus. I don't need to be so gentle with myself and say, oh, you only can do 10 pages a day on this revision. That's all you can handle. I can handle more. I got this. And this revision now, after doing more work in 4 days than I did in over 2 months, this revision is finished. And it's not perfect, but that's okay, because I know I'm going to need to revise again. But it's done, and I can keep moving forward. And it feels so good to have that off my plate. It feels so good to be moving forward for real with this film again. So if you came to this video hoping for a special tip or special trick to get you back in the seat, back committed, back motivated to do your work, I can't help you there. I'm sorry. And I never would be able to help you, because no matter how motivated I am about my own work, you have to be motivated about your own work to get your butt in the chair and to do it. So like I said, if you are struggling with moving forward on a project, if it's been going on for a long time and you just don't know how to start again, forgive yourself the time that you haven't been working, and then get your butt in the chair, or in front of an easel, or taking a walk, or behind a camera, or whatever you need to do to get into your creative space, and do the work. Because no amount of motivational speaking is going to finish your work for you, is going to make that story better, is going to put that painting on the canvas. You just have to do it. And that's the boring and amazing thing about creative work, because you don't need anything special but yourself. You just need to have the desire to do it. And I can't give that to you, but I hope you can find it within yourself. And if you need to forgive yourself, and you need permission to forgive yourself for not telling your story, here it is. Forgive yourself. It's okay to feel shame and embarrassment and anxiety. I guarantee you, you are feeling that more than anyone else about this work. Unless you're on a deadline, in which case, that's a whole other issue. I'm just talking about things that we are doing to make ourselves happy or create creative careers for ourselves. If you can't forgive yourself, feel all those feelings and then do the work anyway. And then maybe you can forgive yourself, because finishing after this long absence, it's like victory, and also it kind of feels like coming home in a way. I feel more like myself right now than I have in months, because I've finished this project. I'm back on the track that I know I want to be on, doing the thing that I love. So I hope that if you're watching this looking for a kick in the ass, that it's giving it to you. I am so excited to continue finally to keep talking about this project, about this contained romantic comedy. Up next week, I'm going to break down this revision. I'll tell you how many pages I actually cut. And then we're gonna break down the script into my mood analysis so I can see what my next step is for revising this contained romantic comedy feature and ultimately making it. So thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned to the next episode of Cake Fight Presents The Making Of so we can continue tracking this project. So happy to be back here talking about this script. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button if you made it this far.